Hello, friends and fans, and welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast for our analysis of Chapter 3 of The Quarry. I'm Jack, and I'm here as always with Liam.
How's it going?
You know what? Before we go forward, I should really try to think of an intro that's related to Quarry, shouldn't I? Because I'm using an Until Dawn line for like introducing the channel. So who knows? Maybe Chapter 4 I'll have a quote from The Quarry. But
Welcome, fans. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Welcome back to the podcast.
yeah, that's it. Chapter 3. For me personally, this went pretty darn quickly. I'm not sure for everybody else. So you start off as Abigail, of course. She's run away from the events of Truth or Dare because she's upset that she's had to see the guy she likes, Nick, kissing Emma. And before I pass over to you, mate, I got jumped into the action very quickly. So you know what I'm like with finding clues, but when I started this particular chapter, I turned round and started walking back up the path, because sometimes the devs do this, right? They'll put clues behind you so that you like ultimately miss them. They like expect you to walk forward. So I purposely turned round to have a look, and before I knew it, I was like straight into a cutscene where Abigail was like, I think you have the option to call out for Nick, and to be honest, I did call out for him, and he then comes along and they're chatting, and then next thing you know, Nick's getting attacked. He's got the werewolf on top of him, like this is, you're seeing the werewolf properly for the first time, and Abigail's sort of frightened and stunned, and then there's an option as to whether you go and help Nick, which I did. And then, memory. Fuck, what happens next? There might be a little gap that I'm missing here, but ultimately, Abigail gets separated from Nick. She runs away. There's a sequence where she's like crawling through a log, because I think it comes up you can run or hide, and I chose hide. And she ended up running anyway, and then you had one of those like, don't breathe sequences, and of course like, I think I've pretty much got this down now. Like as soon as like the red goes away and you're sort of almost about to run out of breath, like that's the safe point where you can like stop breathing. But I suppose the point I was coming round to is that I was incredibly frustrated that I turned around at the beginning of this whole sequence, because if I think I walked forward, there might have been clues that I found, because I'm pretty sure at this point you are wandering back through Shady Glade, so I might have found that ranger jacket that you was on about, maybe a couple of other bits and pieces. So how did it go for you, mate? Did you take my advice?
Yeah, I went straight forward. The moment I started as Abby, I was like, right, I'm going forwards. So yeah, you're back at Shady Glade, and to be honest, mate, you didn't miss too much. The call out bit wasn't that far away. The only thing that you did miss was I managed to find a tarot card in the forest with Abby there. One called the Tower, which I'll go into later. And you're walking around and you just get some more cool like horror scenes with that ghost lady that was haunting Laura in the prologue, running through the trees, saying a bunch of stuff like someone's here, and then it eventually knows your name. I'm pretty sure it goes Abby, and then that's when Nick comes in and you can call him out. But yeah, so with my conversation with Nick, I kind of was just, we both agreed, yeah, it's a bit of a dumb game, I get that. There was the option to kiss Nick. Now I denied it here because I was thinking, I'm sorry, but I'm not, what you did was pretty shitty, full on making out with Emma. I'm not going to give you that luxury straight away. But I didn't exactly scold him either. It was understanding and it was a nice chat, and they admitted they liked each other. And I really liked this interaction. I think it was really sort of like, it wasn't too full on. I think it was realistic, to be honest. And obviously you're walking, and then Nick's there. And for the one thing I will praise Nick here is that While Abby's going, do you think it was a bear? He's like, nah, it's too fast. Do you reckon it's that bull? Nah, too growly. I'm like, this is the first time I think someone's like actually knows their animals. Like we've seen Until Dawn where there's like Wendigos and stuff, and they're like, oh, it's a bear that chased us into the cabin. And like, you know, when Chris gets chased out by a wolverine, it's like, oh yeah, it was a bear that got me.
Bear. And why does everyone blame everything on bears? Okay.
And it's like, yeah, finally someone actually can look at a werewolf and think, fuck, run. But yeah, like the same as you really. I got to the tree trunk, I hid in there, that didn't go well, I ran straight out of there. There was an option to climb a tree. I took that because I thought, oh, maybe the wolf can't climb this. And it did. We fell straight out the tree. And yeah, like I took your advice as well, mate. I held on to the very end till the red screen left. And Abby was all safe. But it was also at this point where like the gunshots are, you know, shooting the wolves. And I clearly gather that this is the hillbillies, right, doing this. And they're not shooting us. They're shooting the wolves away and they're actually rescuing. So I always thought, I'm going to trust the hillbillies, actually. I reckon they're on our side. And this further reinforced that. The moment they were shooting the wolves, I was like, but these guys are saving us. That going forward, I very much took an attitude of, I'm going to do what the hillbillies want and side with them, almost. I don't know if you felt the same things, mate.
I have done, yes. Obviously, I've played future chapters as well, and I'll go into that nearer the time, and I'm sort of like semi-frustrated in places with certain things that happened. But I do agree that I think the hillbillies are actually more of an ally. But there's a couple of things you reminded me of there. So, first of all, I didn't climb the tree because I just sort of expected that it could just follow you up the tree, and I was thinking, oh, you know, she might die. And second of all, I did actually go in for the kiss for Abigail Nick, but I actually completely sympathise with your view in that, you know, you shouldn't have done it straight away. You know, you sort of need to sort of earn that trust back in a way. But yeah, like I don't know. It just, considering, you know, obviously having played chapter 1 and 2, it just went very intense very quickly, and I'm starting to wonder whether I liked that or not, whether it maybe should have gone up a little bit more gradually, or whether, you know what, it's a horror game, just jump in at the deep end with encounter with the werewolf. I don't know what you thought on that front, like whether you was happy with the sudden change in tone.
Yeah, it's one of those ones I do agree, it kind of came out of nowhere, but I'm also unsure how I'd do it differently, because I understand, you know, like you very much play in the earlier chapters in the daytime. And werewolves obviously come out at night, so like they obviously have the campfire, the moon comes up, and they're all in a group around a fire, and it isn't until one of them peels off that a wolf does go in for the kill. So I guess that makes sense, but I do agree from a pacing point of view, maybe it could have been slightly different. I will agree with you there, mate.
Yeah, okay, great. So obviously we don't know what's happened to Nick at this point. However, we then cut back to Jacob and Emma at the pier/boathouse. So, was there anything interest here, mate, that you wish to divulge?
Yeah, I guess it's just like, I imagine this probably divides the room. Certain people think, oh, well, it was only supposed to be a summer fling, so, you know, I'm on team Emma because Jacob's reading too much into it. But also, I get it, you know, like Jacob's smitten and it was kind of disrespectful what Emma did. So yeah, it's kind of like one of those where the relationship's kind of tricky there. But yeah, no, I really like the scene. It was really dark. I struggled walking around. I managed to find a few clues here and there. One with like this abandoned oar, you know, abandoned little paddle boat. There was one, you know, with kind of the Hackett brothers, right? Did you find that, the picture on the wall?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and that just further confirms Chris and Travis, they're brothers, they have the same second name. It's just that C Hackett, who's Fackett, it's Travis Hackett.
Yeah.
I found another tarot card as well, so I went from finding, you know, struggling to find them, and out of nowhere I had 2 this chapter, so I was pretty happy with that. And I'll talk to you about what happens when you have 2 tarot cards, actually, if you haven't had that before, when you go to the... and you also look at the premonitions later on. And I'm pretty sure there was one other thing, a newspaper with the hikers as well.
Yeah. That's exactly what I've got. The newspaper, the oars, the photo, and then there was like the no swimming sign as well, which come up as a clue. It was like, you know, I don't really see it as a clue. It's just like no supervision. But I was sort of looking at it as, you know, thinking back to this whole aquatic creature idea. You know, potentially multiple villains. As a quick, you know what? As a quick theory. Was it that there was 6 people, or am I making that up? Was it, or is it 6 years ago that there was the sideshow that died? It could be that they're all somehow vengeful spirits, like Eliza being one of them, or you know, maybe that the dog is like the werewolf or something, and there's a water-based one as well. But yeah, like when they dived in and stuff, obviously they were playing around in the water with one another, and it was getting a little bit sort of flirty and jokey and stuff. And then it gives you a choice, doesn't it? It's like you can either ask Emma to take a photo of you, or you can, I forgot what the other option was, but I did pick to have the photo taken. So Jacob climbs out and he's like doing all these poses on the pier, and then Emma just randomly turns around and starts swimming away from him, which I found a little bit funny. But yeah, mate, is there anything else in this scene that we've not covered?
Yeah, I guess so, because for me, Emma was like, oh, are you jumping in? And Jacob has the option to either jump in or kind of think, nah, like, why don't you ask Nick?
Oh, yeah.
So I jumped in. I was like, you know what? I reckon I wouldn't go after Emma, but I thought Jacob's the kind of guy, you know, he's probably the jock who wants to get his dick wet one last time. Why not? Literally. So I jumped in, and yeah, like I did the same as you. I had Emma take the pick, and then I guess the last thing is when he's goofing about with the pick thing, he hears Abby scream. Did you have that?
Yeah.
So I had a choice: run after Abby or dive in the water, because at this point I think I knocked my trousers off in the pier or something. I can't quite remember, but the rotor arm that Jacob took from the car was falling in the bottom of the water. So I had the option to dive after it and get the rotor arm, or to run after Abby. Now the choice had a timer on and it was going really quick. I chose something and I regret it. I ran after Abby because I was thinking, you know what, I need to protect. I need to do that thing where I save my characters. But I later thought back that Abby actually got away. And in the next scene, as we'll see, she finds the other group anyway. So I'm thinking, oh god, Jacob didn't need to do that. Maybe I should have gone after the rotor arm, retrieved our getaway car, maybe stayed close to Emma as well. So I might have potentially harmed Emma by abandoning her. And later on, as you'll see, I've made Jacob run off into the woods when Abby finds the others anyway. So yeah, I mean, is there any surprise there, or did you want to go straight into Abby finding the other group?
I mean, to come back onto the rotor arm thing, I mean, if I was you, at this point, if I'm assuming sort of like the conventions of Supermassive Games, I wouldn't necessarily worry, because they're probably going to get help elsewhere, right? I mean, the rotor arm thing would literally just be for the car. So yeah. Unless that does come back to bite you in the arse later on, where you get in the car and you can't go anywhere because you've not got it, then fair enough. But I don't know, I almost expect that it's going to be almost a similar Until Dawn thing, where, you know, maybe a helicopter comes in, or, you know, like maybe sort of like a speedboat team or something. Or I don't know, but I almost expect it to not be everyone getting in the car to escape, if you get me. So I almost look at it and be like, don't worry, mate, but who knows?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that could very much be a good ending there. I like that.
Yeah, but no, other than that, mate, yeah, happy to roll on to the whole Abigail coming back to the group.
So you play as Ryan and you have Abby that comes back into the group, all like sort of screaming, trying to catch her breath. You're like, what happened? She's trying to tell you to go after Nick and save him. I'm there questioning, like, what's in there though? And then Caitlin's there telling me off, like, she's out of breath, just go, I'll take care of her. So I was Ryan and I was doing all the quick time events. I thought like the same as Mike running after Jess in Until Dawn. I was like, I need to be quick here. I could get Nick killed.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did, because the trophy actually popped up for me for saving Nick. Nick of Time, I think it was called, which I quite liked. But yeah, like I chose all the shortcut options, and as I said, my quick time events, I think the settings are too easy because it was a cakewalk, like just 3 sort of quick time events twice. And I got to Nick, and then obviously you have this encounter with Bobby, which was really interesting. So like, I mean, I'll let you dive in first, mate. How did that one go for you?
Yeah, so honestly, same thing with me. Did all the quick time events, got the achievement. And, you know, I was talking before the last episode about parallels with Until Dawn. This was another example I was thinking of, you know, chasing after someone. But, yeah, I mean, he had the shotgun, right? And the last thing Caitlin says to you is, watch out, you know, there's a spread on that thing. And obviously you arrive and you see Bobby dragging Nick away. It then gives you the option to shoot, and I was like, it's just far too convenient. It's far too convenient, and I was worried that the spread would hit Nick, and the guy's already, you know, got a scratch or a deep bite mark or whatever on his leg. I don't want to injure him further or even risk kill him. I think also because I subscribe to the fact that the hillbillies are actually allies to some extent, so I did nothing. And I think it then played out that Nick then bit Bobby's finger, and then he legged it, and then Bobby then shot his own finger off.
Yeah, it's that was a really interesting scene. Like for me, when Bobby was holding Nick, I agree. I was like, I do not want to shoot this man, but I thought I could compromise. I didn't want to not shoot because I wanted Nick back, but I didn't want to kill anyone either, so I fired a warning shot. I fired way off to the side. Right. And it kind of worked, you know, it distracted him and Nick bit his finger and it played out the same way. But, I don't know, Bobby almost smirked at me as if to think, like, you're a shit shot. And I was just there thinking, I wasn't trying to hit you. I aimed for the tree. And then, yeah, he was a bit smug, like, oh, this kid can't shoot his gun.
You know, he is a specialist in failure. I'm not.
I got Nick back, but yeah, he shot off the finger. Do you have any thoughts to why that was, mate?
Infection.
Yeah.
Up infection. Almost instant. I think back to the trailer as well, where like, cut it off. I think that there's going to be, you know, a couple of incidences of that. I think that the hillbillies are very clued on as to what the enemy is and what it proposes. That's why they drench themselves in blood. I think that will factor into it at some point. I do think it's, you know, an infection related thing. You know, maybe again it's something to do with the blood. You know, maybe the hillbillies have somehow got, you know, wolf's blood or something like that they coat themselves in so that it doesn't attack them. So yeah, that's what I'm running with, mate.
All right. I mean, that leads on very well to the next scene, actually, because it's very relevant what you just said to do with when we play as Jacob again. Now, before, you know, because you ran after Abby, so you have Jacob in the forest, right?
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if he always has to be in the forest, because obviously I had an option to dive after the rotor arm and be back with Emma. And it's funny because he's there in the woods and he's there like, oh, there's a half-naked woman waiting for you. What are you doing, Jacob?
Yeah.
And like, I actually did have the option to go after her in a way. So I do wonder if this whole scene was optional. But yeah, regardless, for myself, yeah, like Bobby's back. He's caught you up in the, you know, the sort of string. We saw this from the trailer, so we always sort of knew this was going to go down with Jacob. And I decided to play nice. Like we said, I'm siding with the hillbillies here. I reckon they know how to defeat the monster. They technically saved Abby and Nick before. So I was there thinking, oh, please let me down. I wasn't like insulting him, which I think you could have done. And then, you know, he cuts me down. I'm like, okay, sweet, that's good. And then you have the option to throw dirt in his eye.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
Yeah, like he like sort of rewarded me, I guess, because I didn't go for him. He put that blood mask that he had, Jedediah did earlier on Jacob's face.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, it tastes bad, doesn't it? But trust me, it's good for you." And I think they've protected Jacob now. That whatever this blood stuff is obviously a good thing. And yeah, I think I've just protected Jacob. I don't know if it's the same for you, mate.
Exact same. And it honestly just further cements my theory. Well, in which case, shall we rock on to Eliza?
Yeah, of course. Sorry, I'm eating here. I just checked on my food. All right, back at it. Yeah, no, the Eliza scene. She gave me a lot of stick before for not finding the tarot cards. Well, I bought back 2 for her, so I was like, there you go, you bitch.
Yeah.
Did you find any tarot cards this chapter?
Is one of them called Star?
Yeah, so that's the Jacob one at the pier, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the only one I've found, I believe. I think there is a gap in my tarot cards menu now. So what's the other one?
Yeah, the other one's from the other one's Tower. Now that's from Abby when you walk in the forest. So obviously you would have missed it when you accidentally cut forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was Tower and Star. And I'm guessing you didn't move on to look at the premonition at this point.
I didn't. I was still in that phase of, no, I'm going to do it all myself. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, obviously there was no indicator, was there? I mean, for myself anyway, like I was thinking the Star seemed more about like jealousy, and it was what Jacob was feeling at the time. So I went with Tower because Tower had this thing about, oh, like the building's burning. Do you jump out, fight or flight? I'm like, that sounds important. So I picked Tower, yeah, because here's the thing. I think I forgot to mention. If you get 2 tarots in a sequence, she makes you choose. You can't look at both. You have to choose the tarot card you want to pick.
Yeah.
Right. So I found Star and I couldn't even see it. So.
Oh.
But I quite like that though. It means that there's an element of chance, and it is almost like a real tarot card thing. You can't have all the cards; you have to turn one over, But either way, yeah, I saw a premonition of. I mean, shall I say? Do you want to
go for it?
I guess it's almost like Until Dawn with Emily when she jumps onto the zip wire thing. But a certain someone that looks like Emma jumps for what looks like a zip wire, and then it almost goes for a body crashing on the floor. So I'm wondering if zip wires equals bad, equals death. That, or you can die from the zip wire if you don't use the right quick time events. So yeah, I'm going to have to eventually see what that is. But Eliza was a lot nicer to me this chapter, so I was pretty happy for that.
Just as a heads up, I have played that bit.
Oh, okay.
Too. I won't say any more. But yeah, okay. It's sort of reassuring that the premonitions that you're letting me know have, by the way, for context, everyone, I am like a couple of chapters ahead, which explains why my memory isn't as good as Liam's. But yeah, it is reassuring that like it's not anything too far in the future, in terms of like the premonitions and stuff. But I am starting to look at them now when I find them. So
right, awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've got no more comments, mate.
Nah, neither do I. So we can wrap it up there.
All right. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this chapter. It was a lot shorter, this one, but yeah, I think it was called Trouble in Paradise. But yeah, like I'm eager just to get into the next one. I'm having a lot of fun with this. I hope you guys are as well.
Yeah. Thanks again, guys. Obviously, as usual, leave your comments, etc. And we look forward to seeing you in chapter 4. See you then.
See you in a bit, guys.
Sub, share, smash that like button. The Holy Trinity.